The first thing everyone noticed was the sound of shattering glass. A polished crystal award slipped from the CEO's trembling hands and exploded across the marble floor just seconds after a single sentence spoken in flawless Arabic stopped a billion-dollar disaster that would have destroyed everything she had spent 20 years building. The executives froze. The international investors stared in stunned silence. The woman who had mocked the quiet janitor only hours earlier slowly turned toward him with tears filling her eyes as she realized the least respected employee in the building had just saved her entire company. If you believe kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to our channel to become part of our growing community. Every morning before sunrise painted the city skyline with warm golden light, Everett Hale unlocked the service entrance of Halcyon Global Holdings. By the time the executives arrived in expensive cars and tailored suits, every hallway reflected the sunlight through spotless windows, every conference room smelled fresh, and every polished floor shined like a mirror. Most people barely noticed the man pushing the cleaning cart. They simply walked past him as if he were another piece of office furniture. Everett had once dreamed of becoming an international trade consultant. He had studied languages with extraordinary dedication, spending years mastering French, Spanish, German, and Arabic while attending evening classes after working construction jobs during the day. Life had seemed full of endless possibility until tragedy struck. His wife, Claire, passed away unexpectedly after a sudden illness, leaving him alone to raise their 6-year-old daughter, Hazel. Medical bills consumed every dollar they had saved. Everett sold almost everything he owned, including the books he had treasured since college. The consulting career disappeared before it could begin, replaced by whatever honest work could keep food on the table and a roof over Hazel's head. Cleaning offices never embarrassed Everett. He believed no honest job diminished a person's dignity. Every afternoon after finishing his shift, he picked Hazel up from school. They visited the local library together because buying books remained a luxury. Hazel loved stories about explorers, inventors, and ordinary people who changed the world through courage rather than wealth. Everett always smiled when she asked difficult questions because curiosity reminded him of Claire. He quietly promised himself that no matter how difficult life became, Hazel would never lose her belief that good people still existed. The company's new CEO, Victoria Sterling, believed success belonged only to those who projected confidence and authority. Brilliant in finance and fearless in negotiation, she had transformed struggling businesses into profitable empires. Unfortunately, years of competition had also hardened her heart. She measured people almost entirely by titles, salaries, and influence. She rarely looked beyond appearances. On that bright Tuesday morning, Victoria walked through the lobby while reviewing notes for the most important contract of her career. A multinational infrastructure partnership worth nearly $1 billion would either secure Halcyon Global's future or leave investors questioning her leadership. Cameras from several business networks waited outside for the signing ceremony scheduled just before noon. As Victoria hurried toward the executive elevator, she accidentally stepped onto a section of floor Everett had just finished polishing. She slipped slightly before regaining her balance. Embarrassed in front of several directors, frustration quickly replaced reason. She glared at Everett with cold disappointment and publicly questioned whether someone pushing a mop understood basic common sense. A few nervous executives laughed simply because their CEO laughed. Everett quietly apologized even though warning signs clearly surrounded the area. He lowered his eyes, not from shame, but because arguing would solve nothing. Hazel had drawn a small picture that morning and tucked it inside Everett's lunch bag. During his break he unfolded the paper. It showed the two of them holding hands beneath a bright sun with the words, "My dad makes everything brighter." Everett smiled through moist eyes. Those simple words carried more value than any executive bonus. Meanwhile, the company's legal department prepared conference materials for visiting investors from several countries. One delegation included representatives from a respected investment consortium headquartered in the Gulf region. Their lead negotiator preferred speaking English during formal meetings but often discussed complex legal nuances privately in Arabic with colleagues. Victoria assumed none of her staff understood enough Arabic to follow those conversations. Shortly before the signing ceremony, Everett entered the executive conference floor to empty recycling bins and replace water pitchers. As usual, everyone ignored him. While quietly arranging chairs along the wall, Everett overheard a brief conversation between two foreign legal advisors speaking rapid Arabic. Their expressions remained calm, but the words immediately tightened his chest. Hidden inside the final contract was a translation discrepancy that fundamentally changed ownership rights if specific financial benchmarks were missed. The English version described temporary operational oversight during financial restructuring. The Arabic wording described permanent controlling authority over valuable international assets. It was an astonishing difference worth nearly $1 billion. Everett read Arabic fluently enough to recognize sophisticated legal terminology because years earlier he had specialized in international commercial language during university studies. Most listeners would have missed the subtle distinction completely. He hesitated, interrupting billion-dollar negotiations as a janitor could cost him his job. Remaining silent could destroy thousands of employees' futures. He remembered Hazel's drawing. He remembered Claire always saying that courage means doing what is right even when nobody expects anything from you. Everett calmly approached the nearest legal assistant and quietly explained that the translation required immediate review. The assistant looked at his uniform and dismissed him almost instantly. Everett politely insisted because the wording could transfer permanent authority instead of temporary oversight. The assistant rolled her eyes and informed security that the janitor was interfering with executive business. Victoria noticed the commotion. Already irritated from the morning incident, she walked over with visible impatience. Before anyone could fully explain, she sharply questioned why a janitor believed he belonged anywhere near negotiations involving international law. Several executives exchanged uncomfortable glances while Everett respectfully repeated that the Arabic contract contained a dangerous inconsistency. Victoria dismissed his concern as impossible. She remarked that cleaning floors did not qualify someone to interpret billion-dollar agreements. A ripple of awkward laughter again spread across the room. Everett did not react with anger. Instead, he calmly asked permission to identify one specific paragraph. Perhaps because the meeting had not officially started, one visiting attorney curiously handed Everett the Arabic document. Everett pointed directly to a clause buried beneath technical language. In calm, flawless Arabic, he explained the grammatical construction, the legal implication, and how one carefully chosen word completely altered ownership obligations. He even referenced established commercial terminology commonly used in cross-border infrastructure agreements. Silence swallowed the room. The foreign attorneys immediately examined the paragraph together. Within moments, their expressions shifted from confidence to alarm. One senior advisor admitted that Everett's interpretation was absolutely correct. During revisions prepared by outside translators, a single legal phrase had been substituted with language carrying dramatically different consequences. Nobody had noticed because both versions appeared similar to non-specialists. Victoria felt the color drain from her face. The investors requested an immediate suspension of the signing ceremony while corrected documents were prepared. Financial analysts quickly confirmed the consequences. Had the agreement been signed as written, Halcyon Global could eventually have surrendered strategic assets valued at nearly $1 billion. The room remained frozen. Every executive remembered laughing only minutes earlier. Victoria slowly looked toward Everett. The quiet janitor everyone overlooked had protected the company from catastrophic loss. News spread through the headquarters faster than anyone imagined. Employees who barely knew Everett's name suddenly realized the man emptying trash bins possessed remarkable education, extraordinary humility, and unwavering integrity. Later that afternoon, Victoria requested a private meeting in a conference room flooded with warm daylight. Gone was the confident executive who believed titles defined people. Sitting across from Everett, she finally listened to the story no one had bothered to ask about. She learned about Claire, she learned about endless hospital bills, she learned about Hazel, she learned that Everett never abandoned his dreams. He simply chose fatherhood over pride when life demanded sacrifice. Victoria struggled to hold back tears. For the first time in many years, she recognized how easily success had blinded her to human worth. She publicly apologized before the entire company during an afternoon employee gathering. There were no excuses. She admitted that she had judged someone by appearance instead of character and nearly ignored the very person who saved them all. the apology surprised everyone even more than the morning's events. Everett accepted without hesitation that he explained that carrying resentment would only teach Hazel the wrong lesson. Forgiveness did not erase painful moments, but it prevented those moments from controlling the future. Those words affected the audience more deeply than any motivational speech. Victoria immediately created a scholarship fund for employees pursuing higher education while supporting families. She expanded internal promotion programs so hidden talents would never again remain invisible simply because someone's job title seemed ordinary. She also offered Everett a senior position within the company's international partnerships division. Everett accepted only after ensuring the schedule allowed him to continue picking Hazel up from school every afternoon. To him, no promotion mattered more than keeping promises made to his daughter. Months passed beneath countless bright afternoons filled with steady progress. Everett proved every bit as capable as his education suggested. His language skills opened new international opportunities. His calm leadership earned genuine respect instead of fearful obedience. Younger employees sought his advice because he never forgot what it felt like to be overlooked. Victoria changed as well. She spent more time walking through every department, learning employees' names, asking about their families, and listening before making assumptions. The company culture slowly transformed because leadership had transformed first. Hazel eventually visited the office during a family celebration. Employees greeted her warmly, proudly showing her the conference room where her father had changed the company's future. She smiled with quiet pride but simply said that none of it surprised her because her dad had always been her hero. Those words touched every heart in the room. Before we reach the end of this journey, take a moment to leave a meaningful comment sharing one lesson this story reminded you of. Do you believe true character is revealed by kindness, humility, or forgiveness? Your thoughts may encourage someone else who needs hope today. Years later, visitors entering Halcyon Global noticed a simple bronze plaque displayed near the main lobby instead of another expensive corporate trophy. It carried only a few words that every employee eventually memorized: never measure a person's value by the uniform they wear. Greatness often arrives quietly. Executives, interns, receptionists, maintenance workers, and visitors passed those words every day beneath the bright afternoon sun shining through the glass entrance. Some paused for only a second. Others stopped much longer, remembering that one ordinary janitor had protected thousands of livelihoods not because anyone respected him, but because integrity mattered more than recognition. Everett never forgot where he came from. Sometimes he still helped the cleaning staff when he noticed they were overwhelmed. Not because he needed to, but because gratitude remained stronger than pride. Victoria often joined him for those moments, quietly carrying supplies without cameras or announcements. Together they demonstrated that leadership begins with service, not status. Hazel grew up believing that success was never about titles, wealth, or applause. It was about using whatever gifts you possessed to protect others, lifting people instead of judging them, and choosing compassion even after experiencing humiliation. That lesson became the greatest inheritance her father could ever give. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. May we all remember that the quietest person in the room may carry the greatest wisdom, the humblest worker may become the greatest hero, and one act of kindness and forgiveness can change countless lives forever.